You got this. You heard me?
In the ring, life hits you with all these cheap shots. People like me, we live in the past. You got people that need you now. You got everything to lose. This guy's got nothing to lose.
I ain't got a choice.
That's the same thing your father said, and he died right here in my hands. Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
But you don't think I could beat him? I got loyalty. I was afraid I couldn't live up to these expectations. I got loyalty inside my DNA.
You don't think you got your validation?
I got loyalty inside my DNA. I got loyalty, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. I want to rewrite history.
Don't pretend this is about your father.
I was born like this, is born like this, immaculate conception. I transform like this, perform like this, without you a new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate, then off your plate. This that put the kids to bed, this that I got. It may not seem like it now, but this is more than just a fight. Loyalty. I got loyalty inside my DNA.
Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button, then turn that notification button on right now.
While injuries are a part of the wrestling business, you never know when your luck is going to run out. Every wrestler that steps inside the ring understands the risk involved, and they know that they might not come out the same way. If you make it in the big leagues, the hectic schedule, performing almost every day, will leave your body battered and bruised, and you have to know how to take care of yourself to avoid any catastrophe inside the ring, saying that even the best have succumbed to the injury bug. While wrestlers more often than not return to active competition, there are certain injuries that cannot be shrugged off. Careers have ended in the ring, and there have been a few instances when the outcome was much worse than just a broken limb. My name is John, and in this video we take a look at 10 wrestlers whose careers were over due to an injury in the early 2000s and what they've been up to since. The saying, "everything happens for a reason," is probably the most appropriate for Chris Nowinski's case, who is recognized by the WWE as the youngest hardcore champ ever. Chris Nowinski, when he made his WWE debut, wouldn't be aware of the kind of impact he would have made, but it is his work outside the ring that has changed the landscape of not only the wrestling industry, but the sporting world in general. Nowinski was forced to retire from WWE after suffering from post-concussion syndrome in 2003, and that was when Chris decided to dedicate his life to studying brain injuries and create awareness about brain trauma and CTE. He was instrumental in the founding of the Concussion Legacy Foundation, which does extensive research on brain injuries in sports and works closely with athletes to diagnose concussions and raise awareness about CTE. When Nathan Jones was recruited by WWE, the company expected him to be a major player. Given his stature and frame, Nathan was expected to be a dominant force and was teamed up with The Undertaker relatively early in his career, and was also given a major spot on the WrestleMania 19 card. But once WWE realized that Jones wasn't ready for the big stage just yet, he was removed from the match and was given a reduced role. Jones left the company in 2003 and seldom worked on the independents. He tried to come out of retirement in 2008 after signing with Impact Wrestling, but suffered nerve damage after he was hit by a cement truck, which put an end to those plans, and the former superstar has since shifted his focus to acting in movies. Adam Bomb worked with WWE before jumping ship to WCW, and was with the organization until it folded in 2001. Adam was a part of Chronic, the tag team, along with Bryan Adams, and the duo won the World Tag titles during their run in WCW. The duo were then signed by the WWE, and while they challenged The Undertaker and Kane for tag gold, they didn't stick too long in the promotion, and were released after just 2 months. Bomb and his partner then and worked the independents and later competed in All Japan Pro Wrestling. However, both Baum and Adams retired in 2003 due to injuries, and Adam was later named part of a class action lawsuit against the WWE, with multiple former wrestlers alleging that they had suffered traumatic brain injuries while working for the company, and that WWE hid the risk of injury from them. Adam Baum has since fallen off the radar, and other than making a couple of podcast appearances, largely stays out of the public eye. While working for ECW, Taz was known as the Human Suplex Machine and was a multiple-time ECW champ. Taz later signed with WWE and defeated Kurt Angle in his debut match inside Madison Square Garden. Big things were expected from Taz, but the star never really made it past the mid-card role, and won the WWE Hardcore title on multiple occasions. As injuries started to pile up, Taz started commentating on Sunday Night Heat, and served as the voice of the Alliance during the Invasion angle. Taz would retire from in-ring competition due to injuries he sustained over the years, and started working as an announcer on SmackDown in 2001. Taz would leave WWE in 2009 and go to Impact Wrestling, and worked there for 6 years. Currently, Taz hosts his own radio show called The Taz Show on CBS Sports Radio. Hayabusa is considered to be by many the greatest high-flying wrestler in the history of the business, at a time when pro wrestlers were happy with the status quo, mainly sticking to chain and technical wrestling. This wrestler revolutionized the business with his high-flying style and became an icon in Japan and Mexico. He would go on to become one of the greatest junior heavyweights in Japanese wrestling, and was considered to be one of the greatest pro wrestlers of all time. However, in 2001, Hayabusa attempted a moonsault which went terribly wrong, as he fell on his head and neck, which left him paralyzed. He inspired numerous professional wrestlers including the likes of Neville, Chris Jericho, and Kalisto, and regained the use of his legs in 2015, when he was able to walk with a cane. Sadly, the legend passed away a year later due to cerebral hemorrhage. Perry Saturn, along with Malenko, Benoit, and Guerrero, were seen as the future of pro wrestling.
Ich hole dich wieder ab.
Es gab eine Explosion.
Hast du dich bei den Todesopfern um ihren Mann?
Du hast recht gehabt. Es waren Nazis. Die Bullen haben die Täter erwischt.
Steht in der Polizeiakte, dass sowas bei dir gefunden.
Bringst dich doch nur in Schwierigkeiten.
Wrestling and jumped ships from WCW to WWE in 2000. He would win the European and Hardcore titles in WWE before being relegated to a jobber position because of his outbursts during a match on WWE Metal, when he legitimately attacked an enhancement talent. Saturn would injure ACL in 2002 and was let go by the company that same year. While he wrestled for a couple of years on the independent scene, he had to retire from the business because of his injuries. In 2004, Saturn was involved in an incident where he tried to save a woman from being raped, but was shot twice. Saturn's life spiraled out of control afterwards as the superstar got addicted to meth and was homeless for a couple of years. He is currently struggling to make ends meet and is suffering from traumatic brain injury. The former European champion is undergoing neurological care and is on the verge of being homeless once again. Tori Wilson competed in WWE at a time when there wasn't much emphasis on women, but was one of the most popular stars because of her sultry looks. She was also involved in one of the most controversial angles in the company when Tori and Dawn Marie were shown kissing on television. Wilson posed for Playboy twice, and while she mainly served as a catalyst for feuds, she did compete in the ring during her tenure as a superstar. Tori injured her back in late 2007 and was released in 2008, after which she retired from the business. Tori has since appeared on an NBC reality show and launched her own clothing line, officially Jaded in 2007. Tori currently works as a web-based fitness instructor and blogger, and is in the best shape of her life. When you think of Sid Vicious, the first image you probably think of is Sid shattering his leg in a WCW ring, with the fans watching in absolute horror. Sid Vicious was a popular star in his heyday and main evented multiple WWE and WCW pay-per-views. Sid is also a multiple-time world champion, winning the WWE title twice and the WCW World Heavyweight title 2 times as well. Sid is often credited as being one of the best big men in the business, and had the tools to become a top contender in every organization he worked for. Sid left the WWE in '97 to undergo neck surgery.
Big Cass has been released from the WWE. And when the news came out sometime last night, the internet went absolutely bonkers because anybody saw that coming. I certainly didn't. But now, poof, he's gone. It does kind of explain why Daniel Bryan was so dominant in that feud, because Big Cass is a really tall dude and WWE loves really tall dudes. However, here we are. There's no going back. Big Cass is gone, Enzo is gone, and the only one left is Carmella. And who would have thought that when they all debuted on the roster a couple of years ago? And they went in together then, but look, it worked out for her, not so much for those guys. Don't forget too, that despite all their popularity and of course ups and downs, Big Cass and Enzo never won any form of WWE Tag Team title, be that on NXT or the main roster. I mean, what a crazy ride this has been. Cass is gone though, which means there's only one question to ask, and that is of course, why? That one really hurt. Here's why. Now, I'm sure more news and information is going to come out over the next few days and weeks, as it always does. However, some of it already is out in the wild, so we may as well address it and see what the current situation is. And yes, all of this does seem to start a few weeks ago when Big Cass had the great idea to ignore a direct order from Vince McMahon. I mean, that ain't the smartest thing to do. I don't know, I'm not there, but it doesn't seem like a good idea. But when a little person was pretending to be Daniel Bryan, Cass asked everybody, hey, after the planned big boot, can I also beat him up? You know, really get my fist and slam him down, get some proper heat. Cass was told, no, you absolutely cannot do that. And then Cass went and did it anyway. Now, I would guess this was him trying to grab the brass ring, as often discussed. However, as someone outside of that bubble, I think there's only two ways to do that, and he didn't pick either, because one, you either beg for forgiveness instead of asking for permission. You know, you do something, even though no one specifically told you to do it, and just hope that it was so good you get away with it. Or two, you ask, hope that you get permission, and if you don't, you're just going to go, well, I tried, I'll just go along with the story. Given that Cass went for the latter and then just ignored what he was told, well, yeah, I can see why that would annoy upper management. It's called a hierarchy, and you can't upset the hierarchy, especially not in wrestling. People love that in wrestling. And you can't pretend you didn't know the deal because you specifically went out of your way to try and change the deal. This was a really strange situation. From here, it does seem like it was a matter of a bad attitude, and a few people have hinted that on the recent WWE European tour, Big Cass got locked in a toilet, thought he was being ribbed, suffered from claustrophobia, which I can completely understand, and he booted his way out of there. Unfortunately for him, this was yet another scene that did make it back to company officials, and all of a sudden you can kind of see it happening, right? You can see it happening. People are going, man, Big Cass is becoming a problem. He did this, he did that, what's he going to do next? Some have even said that during said tour, Big Cass was intoxicated in public, and we don't know if that's true. That's a big allegedly right there. But if that is the case, you can't do that. You can't be drunk among other people. You're representing the brand and you're representing the company. They ain't gonna like that. Add in more murmurings that he wasn't best pleased that he was booked to lose once again at Money in the Bank against Daniel Bryan, and all of a sudden you've got a recipe for disaster. He was let go from the company, and yeah, he didn't even get wished well in his future endeavours. He just got, he's out the door, lads, that's it. All of this does seem to have gone down at last night's SmackDown taping too, away from everyone else, I need to add. There was one point everyone was like, oh, he did it in front of the locker room. He didn't. It was a meeting between Vince McMahon, Big Cass, and maybe a couple of other people, and that's what he told him. He told him, look, you're done, you may as well go home. So yeah, go home. And what an absolutely just mad situation this is. And you've got to believe that more is going to come out eventually. A quick note that a lot of this info did come from the Pro Wrestling Sheet and Wrestling Observer respectively. And the question we've got to ask now is, what does Cass do? Where does he go? Does he try and be like another version of Cody Rhodes? Can he go out there and completely change his reputation? Does he go to Impact? Or maybe someone out there is like, hey, I can put Enzo and Big Cass back together. Now, I can't see that happening, given that Enzo didn't particularly have nice words for his former tag team buddy. But right now, well, the options are there. It is amazing that there is so much controversy surrounding these two now. Take yourself back to when they debuted on Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. Everyone loved it, the crowd was buzzing, and here we are, they both gone. I mean, you wouldn't have predicted it. Don't tell me you would have done, you'd be lying. And it does go to show that you still have to tread carefully backstage. There could have been the argument that given Cass's size, and again, WWE loves big dudes, that maybe he could have gotten away with more than other people. But clearly that wasn't the case. He pushed too many buttons, annoyed the wrong people, and now he's got to take a step back and figure out what he wants to do next. And that sucks. That can't be easy. But I guess such is life, you just never know. But yeah, that's it, he's gone, so you're not going to see him on Raw, you're not going to see him on SmackDown, and you're not going to see him on any WWE pay-per-views for some time. And he may come back in the future, never say never, as they say, but right now, he is out of there. And make sure you keep an eye on WhatCulture.com, because we will bring you all the news about Big Cass's release as soon as it gets out there, like a wild dog running through the wind. You try and catch him, but you don't have to, because we'll catch the wild dog for you, and then let you know the deal. The too long didn't read version, which doesn't work in videos, because unless you skip to this point, which you won't have done because that would have been crazy, I didn't need to do this, but I'm doing it anyway. Big Cass has been released because he made a lot of fuss backstage, and at one point went against the company directive. I'll never get over that. I'll never get over that. If Vince McMahon told me to do something, I would probably do it. But again, I don't know, I'm just an idiot. Either way, yeah, Big Cass. He's out. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about Big Cass's release. Like, share, and subscribe. Then head over to WhatCulture.com and read more articles, a lot of which are going to be about Big Cass's release. And you can follow What Culture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE. My name
A long-haul flight, the birth of a child, last-minute studying for an exam you are grossly underprepared for. There are a lot of perfectly acceptable reasons for a grown adult to stay awake until 4 AM. Now, generally speaking, watching 4 hours of men and women beating the piss out of each other in their pants generally isn't one of them, but Money in the Bank's overall quality certainly made it a heck of a lot easier. And I won't let James Bloody Ellsworth get me down either. I thought that was genuinely one of the best main roster shows of the year, and it was crammed with all the usual Easter eggs, snafus, and smaller details. So with that in mind, I'm Andy for What Culture Wrestling, and here are the things you may have missed from WWE Money in the Bank 2018. First, a couple from the kickoff show, because who the f*** watches the kickoff show? Apart from me, because I'm about to tell you about it. You probably should have thought that one through, actually. But how's this for goofy marketing? WWE actually interrupted Gallows and Anderson versus the Bludgeon Brothers to show a commercial for Money in the Bank. Because yes, if you're hardcore enough to tune into the kickoff show, you're really going to tune out before the main show comes on. Good marketing there, guys. Great job. Pew, pew, pew. It's shoot season and Booker T is the one pulling the trigger because he absolutely shat on CM Punk during the show. Making reference to Chick Magnet Phil's latest UFC loss, Booker T said, and I quote, "That boy got the bricks beat off him." A more blatant and petty shot you will not find. It's almost like WWE have a reason to be upset with Punk. I wonder why that could be. Surprise, surprise, Big Cass dropped a big bad botch early in his match with Daniel Bryan, failing to take a drop toe hold of all moves, crumbling down like a sack of potatoes, and drawing a big chant of "You can't wrestle" from the rowdy Chicago crowd. Now, the botch itself may have slipped under your radar, but Cass sure did make the crowd look dumb a few minutes later. It turned out to be a pretty great match overall. Much of this was down to Bryan, admittedly, but it was probably the best singles match of Cass's career, despite the botch. Good old Chicago, a wrestling town so passionate they'll react to anything. Their noise is legendary and no one can kill their buzz. Apart from Bobby Lashley. The Allstate Arena turned into a library for his match with Sami Zayn. I mean, sure, they did perk up a couple of times, but they were very hushed for the majority of the time, which just goes to show how bad this feud has been. How do you kill the hottest crowd in wrestling? You bring out Bobo Lashley. Come on, guys, this is Chicago. It's supposed to be easy. What the hell are you doing? About 40 minutes into the show, we cut backstage to Nia Jax, who was conversing with a referee, going over what she can and can't do in the upcoming match with Ronda Rousey, and miming a few LB suppers for good measure. But let me get this straight, Nia's been wrestling or attempting to wrestle for 3 years now and she still needs clarification on the rules? Outside of making Nia look incredibly stupid, which is unfortunately something the company have done a great job of doing over the past few weeks, I'm not too sure what the point of this was. Elias versus Seth Rollins turned into a great match, but it certainly didn't start that way, with the Drifter clearly struggling to keep up with the frantic pace that Seth always sets in his matches. Corey Graves explicitly pointed out a few minutes in, this is a little slow for your typical Seth Rollins match, and when you think about it, that's actually a great line from the commentator. The match wasn't clicking in real life, so instead of ignoring it, Graves came up with a nice little kayfabe explanation to paper over the cracks. Just another example of why he's one of the best in the business. We'll stick with Elias versus Rollins for a moment because the finish of that match saw Rollins grab Elias by the trousers, roll him through and pin him with the grip still intact. I ask you this, are we seeing the start of a heel turn here? This felt really deliberate. It was a totally villainous move and obviously out of character for Seth, so they obviously put it in there for a reason. Personally, I hope not, because Rollins has been on fire as a babyface lately, but it's WWE. You can never be sure with these guys, so don't rule it out. So 6 nights after Natalya was caught selling the wrong knee on Monday Night Raw, she turned up to Money in the Bank without any knee brace or any obvious signs of hurt. Zero, zip, zilch. Now the theory behind the Raw, Natalya was lying about the injury and would eventually use this as a way to double-cross Ronda Rousey, and this new spot feeds into that. We obviously didn't see Natalya interfere in the Raw Women's Championship match like many had predicted, but with this, the injury ruse is alive and well. Speaking of Natalya, she came through with an absolute skadoosh in the Women's Money in the Bank match, powerbombing Sasha Banks onto a ladder and damn near killing her in the process. Now this match was full of crazy spots, so I don't want to be too harsh on Natty, but this came just 6 days after she almost crumpled the boss with a particularly nasty knee on Raw. She's getting kinda sloppy out there and it's really uncomfortable to watch. Also in the women's ladder match was a particularly awesome spot in which Alexa Bliss was on the verge of getting powerbombed onto a ladder, only to flip out into a Code Red, turning the tables. Well, unfortunately this drew a particularly idiotic call from Jonathan Coachman, who said that was impressive, but what did it get you? Gee, I don't know, maybe not getting powerbombed onto a ladder? I think that sits quite near the top of potential justifications here, and while this was a really cool moment, Coach's awful call damn near sucked the life out of it. So after the Jinder Mahal versus Roman Reigns match, if you can even call it a match, WWE cut to a nice wee commercial for the Special Olympics, which they claim to be a proud sponsor of. Nothing wrong with that, of course, except it came mere moments after Roman had literally attacked a man in a wheelchair. Now I get it, Sunil Singh isn't actually disabled and this was all part of the match, but the optics are beyond dumb. If you know you've got a Special Olympics commercial up, then why would you air it just moments after someone's been battered out of a wheelchair? It's kinda gross really, and they should have timed that one a little bit better. Immediately after this commercial, the camera cut to ringside and we caught a glimpse of a couple of notable faces enjoying the show. The first was MMA fighter Travis Brown, my brother in baldness and beardness, who also happens to be Ronda Rousey's husband, and looked like he was having a great old time in his nice, flashy, expensive seat. The second was Scarlett Bordeaux, who works as an indie wrestler and, according to my ever so slightly creepy friend Richard Pictures, a model. You might recognise her from December 2016 when she became the unfortunate victim of one of Nia Jax's early squash matches. So Styles versus Nakamura 4 happened and surprise surprise, AJ Styles, that silly little prick, got hit in the bollocks. He should know better. Nakamura is just a sentient nutshot looking for a target at this point, but here's the thing. Why isn't AJ wearing a cup? Like, seriously, why isn't the WWE champion, who in this universe is the best wrestler in the world, learning from his mistakes? AJ knew Nakamura was gonna do this, so why wouldn't he come prepared? Dumbest man alive, that's why. There were loads of major developments in New Japan Pro Wrestling last week, but one of the biggest ones was the sight of Kenny Omega and his good pal Kota Ibushi coming together with the Young Bucks to form the Golden Elite. Well, one Chicago fan decided to make himself a wee sign dedicated to this and bring it to the show, but unfortunately he kind of f***ed it up. Ibuki is not elite, it read. Ibuki. I-B-U-K-I. Good job, mate. On this week's Raw, Braun Strowman adjusted a power slam mid-move to avoid killing Kevin Owens on a ladder, and I'm pleased to report that good guy Braun was back again last night. Braun came within a hair of launching Kofi Kingston recklessly onto a pile of ladders in the Money in the Bank match, but he realised what he was doing halfway through, dropped Kofi down, and then executed a much safer move instead. I mean, sure, it looked a little bit messy on TV, but that's certainly preferable to Kofi getting lobbed across the stage and perhaps seriously hurt. You go, Braun, you big lovable orc. And finally, how's this for a nice little callback sign in the Chicago crowd? Raise the briefcase. This was awesome as it harks back to King of the Ring 1999 when Steve Austin wrestled Vince and Shane McMahon in a ladder match for control of the company. There was, of course, a briefcase hung above the ring. Stone Cold clawed the ladder, clawed at the briefcase, but somebody up in the rafters raised it up and he just couldn't get it. Whoever was behind the act was never truly revealed, making this one of the Attitude Era's great unsolved mysteries, and it was just cool to see a little callback, even if it came through a crowd sign. So that's it, our journey through Money in the Bank and its many Easter eggs and smaller details is complete. Go ahead and let us know what you thought of the show and whether you picked up on any finer points yourself down in the comment section below. And once you've done that, why not head over to whatculture.com/www.
Hello, What Culture? My name is Simon Miller and welcome to Ups and Downs for Money in the Bank 2018. Now, if you have been waiting for this all day, I apologise, it's a little bit late, but yes, last night at Defiant Wrestling, I had my first ever singles match. That's all I'm going to say about it. You may see some bruises on my faces. Again, that's all I'm going to say about it because this video is about going through the pay-per-view known as Money in the Bank and giving the good bits an up and the bad bits a down. So that's what we're going to do. Smack the hand, point at the camera, say the kind of catchphrase but not catchphrase. Let's up those downs. And we will indeed start where WWE did start, and that was on the pre-show where we did have Gallows and Anderson taking on the Bludgeon Brothers for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Now, the thing with this was, it was alright. It was actually kind of decent, but they weren't given any time. Plus, it was on the pre-show, so there's always that feeling of nobody really cares, and that kind of diluted it a little bit. However, I'm going to give it up because I think that Gallows and Anderson and Harper and Rowan tried really hard. I don't mean that patronisingly, I just mean they did the best with the position they were put in. But yeah, Bludgeon Brothers win after a double powerbomb onto Gallows. And now what the Bludgeon Brothers do, I don't know. And what Gallows and Anderson do, I don't know. But hey, it was all right. It was decent, it was okay, in other words of that ilk. And then the pay-per-view did indeed start properly, and surprisingly, we had Big Cass versus Daniel Bryan opening the thing. And can you believe it? I'm going to give it an up. Now, the main reason I'm going to give this an up is because Daniel Bryan won. He hit his big knee, he locked in the heel hook, Big Cass tapped, and I can't believe it because basically throughout this whole feud, which a lot of people, including me, thought Big Cass was going to dominate, Daniel Bryan has whooped his ass, and I think that bodes well for the future. Also, as Money in the Bank was in Chicago, the crowd was really, they were pumped up and they were into all the yes chants, and that was awesome as well because a good crowd usually takes bad matches and makes them mediocre, takes mediocre matches, makes them good, and takes good matches and makes them great. Yeah. Also, I think this is the end of the feud because what else can you do? Over the last couple of months, Bryan has beaten Cass at every opportunity. I know Cass has had the upper hand a couple of times in like segments, and he beat up a little person one time and made fun of a sign and Daniel Bryan's height, which was rubbish. I think that's it. I think we've made it through. Who knows what's next? And then we had a really weird interview with the New Day and Kevin Owens. Yeah, no, mostly because I like weird. I can try and explain it to you, but it's going to sound crazy because, yeah, the New Day were doing an interview and then Kevin Owens turned up with pancakes. I think he had some cereal as well. And he was trying to say, look, tell me which of you guys is in the Money in the Bank and the other two. You should go beat up Braun Strowman because that's going to help us all when it does indeed come to the men's Money in the Bank ladder match later on. New Day were all like, nah, we don't want to cheat. And that pissed Kevin Owens off. So he told them, well, you know what? I don't like pancakes and I don't like cereal. And then Xavier, Kofi and Biggie, they were all upset too. And then they made some reference that IHOP is now called IHOB, which I think stands for International House of Burgers. And that was it. And amazingly, at this point, I don't think anyway, unless I missed it, we still didn't know which member of the New Day was going to be in Money in the Bank, but it made me laugh, so I'm part of the problem. Why? Here's why. Wrong show. Next up was Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn. Unfortunately, we were all right getting it down. Now, the real issue I have with this is I don't know who this was meant to get over, because it didn't get over Sami Zayn, he lost, and it didn't get over Bobby Lashley because out of nowhere, after about, I don't know, was it 5 minutes? I don't even know, it felt short. He did 3 of those long-standing vertical suplexes, and then he just pinned him. I didn't expect that to be the finish. I don't think you expected that to be the finish. I don't think the crowd expected that to be the finish. But damn it, it was the finish. So Sami Zayn kind of got jobbed out, but he didn't. And Bobby Lash kind of dominated, but he didn't. And overall, this feud has been one big giant mess. I don't know where we go from here, really. Don't think you continue this on. It kind of feels all played out. I don't know, man. I think ever since Bobby Lashley came back at WrestleMania, WWE's done a pretty bad job, and now they've killed him. They may as well build him a grave and write Bobby Lashley lies here on it. That's way too much. I've gone over the line, pull it back, and let's just say it was disappointing, hence why it got it down. Seth Rollins versus Elias for the Intercontinental title, though. Getting up. Now, the main reason I liked it is because Seth Rollins won, and I believe he should keep hold of the gold at this point, but also, this was the best damn Elias single showing I thought he showed real fire. At the end especially, he was like, I'm going to try and win this. Unfortunately, he didn't. Or at least fortunately in many ways, because I wanted Seth to win. It was cool though, because Elias went for a cradle, but Seth reversed that by pulling the tights, and he won. So now Elias can have genuine beef with Seth on Raw. And you know what? I wouldn't mind if we saw a few matches between these two. I think Seth can help Elias. Elias will get better. It gives the IC title a bit of, momentum and weight, which is always good when you have a long-term feud. This was all right, and the crowd ate up too. There's also a brilliant bit with the audience beforehand where Elias did all his shtick, all his guitar shtick, that's me playing the guitar, and he called the crowd scumbags, to which they responded by chanting, "We are scumbags." Always like that. Good work, fans. You're all right with me. Following this was the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, and you know what? I don't know what you thought about it beforehand. I don't know what you thought about last year's one, but this bout, I thought it was damn great. Getting it up. And what really got me here, apart from the fact there were a load of awesome spots and some damn good athleticism that made me go, wrestling, it was the finish. The finish got me emotionally because if you'd watched my Money in the Bank predictions video, I thought Becky Lynch, or at least I hoped Becky Lynch was going to win. I was like, let her win. She needs something. And she almost grabbed the briefcase. She was this close. And what asshole popped out to stop her? The ultimate heel, the heel of all heels, Alexa Bliss. She pulled it down. Miss Money in the Bank. And we also have to give a specific shout out to Sasha Banks for taking some crazy bumps to the point WWE should make her a grave too, along with Bobby Lashley. I know we said a minute ago that we've gone too far with that, but I'm going too far again. I've no idea where the line is. Honestly, go watch this, and if you can come and tell me, they weren't that bad, you crazy. Finally, Charlotte Flair. You are an amazing athlete. And also Ember Moon, Naomi, everybody in this did their part. The rumor was there was a lot of practice beforehand. I don't care. If that's what they needed to do to make it this good, I'm all right with it. 2 thumbs up. That's why I got the up. Best women's Money in the Bank ladder match I've ever seen. There's only been 3, but still, it counts. It's number 1. Next up, there was some stuff between Kurt Angle, Paige, I think Baron Corbin was there, and Samoa Joe. Just comedy like, oh, Raw, we won Money in the Bank, and oh, Daniel Bryan's here, and SmackDown like, no, don't take Daniel Bryan. It's getting it down. And now we come to the most controversial match of the evening, which is, of course, Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal. And I don't know what to give this because it became perplexing, and therefore it's going to get up ticker went up. It's also going to get down ticker goes down. Oh no, the down ticker goes up. You know what I'm saying. Now here's the thing. I actually thought Roman Reigns and Jinder Mahal tried really hard. It wasn't the best match I've seen all year, but I thought it was decent. And at one point, I actually got into it. And all the stuff his son was saying, pretending to be in a wheelchair, and then he kept getting involved. It's classic heel stuff, and it worked. It did okay. It of course finished with Roman Reigns hitting a spear on Mahal for the 1, 2, 3, and that's not surprising. And sure, if you're bored of the whole Roman experiment, you may have groaned a bit, but here's the problem. Before the match even started, the audience, which I have appreciated, and I can't be too hypocritical, because I did appreciate that you gave a lot of energy towards this, but they couldn't have given 2 hoots about this, even before the bell had rung, so they just started chanting everything other than what was going on in the ring. And I tell you, when that happens, it does get a bit distracting. And again, I understand, I get it. I'm not saying there's anything right, I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I'm just saying from a man who was sat on his sofa watching Money in the Bank, much like WrestleMania 34, when I have this distraction, I am distracted. That's why those words are there. And again, the transparency is obvious. This match was put in place so we can keep getting till SummerSlam, where you have to assume that Roman Reigns will finally, please everything, win the Universal title off Brock Lesnar. But this was one of those matches that I don't really want to talk about again. I hope we kind of stop doing this because it takes something away. But yeah, Roman beats Jinder. What else do you want? Sky's blue, ground lets you stand up, there's gravity. It's just WWE, man. Accept it and smile. Which shifted us towards Carmella versus Asuka, and while I kind of liked it, ultimately, I gotta give it a down. And the real reason for this is quite simple, and that's because Asuka was required to just sell during this match. I just don't believe it. That's the truth. I don't believe it. I don't believe that Carmella could beat up the Empress when I've seen what the Empress has done in WWE over the last 3 or 4 years or whatever it is. I go, there ain't no way this would happen. She real hard. She should be beating up the other person, but she ain't. I did like the finish though, because it made me laugh, and that is gonna get an up. As was wildly rumoured, James Ellsworth did return. He walked down the aisle, and he was dressed as Asuka, which is a bit weird. Everyone's a bit like, what's going on? Who is this person in the mask? That's distraction. Carmella then managed to kick Asuka in the head, and yeah, if you want to get real sticky and real focused and real pedantic about it, that does mean Carmella has technically beaten Asuka clean. I mean, it wasn't clean, but it kind of was clean, and then we had the reveal. It was James Ellsworth. Crowd loved it. I loved it. I think everybody loved it. Swiftly behind this was the WWE title match between Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, and while actually on paper, I thought it was good and I enjoyed it for the spectacle that it was, I got to look at it in the grand scheme of things. I'm really sorry. It's getting it down. And that was simply because I believed at Money in the Bank is where Shinsuke Nakamura should have won the WWE title. I mean, all the pieces felt like it was time. His character needed it to justify the heel turn. But he didn't win. He lost. And the ending was great, as were a lot of the spots in the bout itself. AJ Styles gave Nakamura a springboard elbow through the table, and just before we got to 10, the good guy, that would be AJ Styles, he was able to get to his feet, and the bad guy, that would be Nakamura, he laid there. Obviously, we got to 10. It's the last man standing match. He's out. That's it. He's done. Now, you've got to figure this was done because they want to move into a good guy, again, AJ Styles, going against Samoa Joe, because you can't have bad guy versus bad guy when Samoa Joe is involved. I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be really cool, but maybe, just maybe, this whole feud, you know, the one we've been waiting for years, between Nakamura and Styles, has actually hurt Nakamura just a little bit. Just throwing it out there. You think about it. Maybe we'll do a wide video on it at some point, but just think about it. I think you can think about it. I think you may think like me and go, oh, you may be right. Do have to say as well, yes, of course, there was a lot of bull shots in this match, because of course there was. But hey, here we are. Can't change it, can't go back in time. AJ Styles, still your WWE champion. Then lo and behold, we got the surprise package of the evening. Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. What a flipping good time this was. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it out loud. I think Ronda Rousey is a natural pro wrestler, and I think she's taken to it like a duck to water. And again, there's all these rumors going on, the whole match was planned. I don't care how they came up with it. It was really fun. And before the secret special ending, which we're going to get to in 1 second, I thought Jax and Rousey were having an awesome match. Ronda's got that face, she looks good. Nia Jax was doing big power moves. Ronda was selling great. This was awesome. I don't care. Come at me, man. Don't come at me. I want to have friends and I want us to be a big family. But yeah, brilliant. And then just to put that cherry on top, Alexa Bliss came out with her Money in the Bank briefcase. She destroyed the crap out of both women and she pinned Nia Jax. And we've got a new women's champion, and it is Alexa Bliss, who has done it already. She's cashed it in within hours, maybe within minutes. I didn't time it. There you go. And if this means we're now segueing into Alexa Bliss versus Ronda Rousey, I'm alright with that too. So I thought this was great booking, WWE. You caught me by surprise. You proved that we shouldn't have been worried. You get another 2 thumbs up. I think we've already given one this video, but now we'll do another one. Get a salute too. 2 thumbs up and a salute. Imagine how happy Vince McMahon's going to be right now. He's going to see this and he's going to turn to Linda and he's going to go, oh, Linda.
Debbie Ocean, convicted felon. Her brother, Danny Ocean, more convicted felon.
We are going to rob the gala.
$150 million.
Game on.
The biggest heist of the summer.
Why do you need to do this? Because it's what I'm good at.
Ocean's 8. In cinemas June 18th.
Good morning, what culture? Good afternoon, what culture? Good evening, what culture? Welcome to the show known as Ups and Downs, where I, Simon Miller, I take a WWE TV program and I go through it, I give the good bits up and I give the bad bits a down, and sometimes I talk so fast I have to remind myself to breathe. Given that it is Tuesday, there's only one show we can do, and that is the pinnacle of the whole company, and it's known as Monday Night Raw. It's got Roman Reigns on it, you all love him. It's got Jinder Mahal, you all love him. I can't think of anybody else that everybody hates. So instead, I'm going to look at the camera, I'm going to point, and I'm going to say, let's up those downs. All right, look, I think it's time to just admit that Ronda Rousey is a very good pro wrestler, or at least she is taking to it very naturally because everything she did at the start of Raw was awesome, and you know what that means? Get it out of my pocket, it's getting up. Thanks to her, we also got my favourite Raw opening segment in forever, because even though Alexa Bliss was out there with Kurt Angle saying, "Oh, I'm the new women's champion, come revel in my greatness," Rousey then came out and she was so pissed off, she just killed everybody. She killed Alexa Bliss, she killed Kurt Angle, she killed a bunch of refs, and the whole time she had that mad face and she genuinely looks mad. That's really hard to pull off. Go to a mirror right now and tell yourself, "Ooh, I'm gonna look mad. I will bet you $10,000 you just look like a giant jabroni who's a little bit confused about what they're doing." Unfortunately for her, she did go a bit too crazy, because during this, as I've said, she attacked the Raw general manager, and you can't attack your manager at work. That is not how life works. So she's now been suspended for 30 days, although in real life, that probably just means she has a movie role to film. It's like, whatever. I actually think the absence here will make the hearts grow fonder, and we'll all look forward to seeing Ronda Rousey return in around a month. Did the Scott Hall scary fingers there by accident. Scott Hall scary fingers. Super good opening though, and Rousey even barked at Renee Young as she was leaving an arena that she is going to come back and she's going to kick some pink-haired ass. Good work. Get those classic 2 thumbs up. Well done, Ronda. Well done. You the woman. I don't know what to give what happened next, because a small part of me is like, well, maybe this is building to something cool. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with the power of positivity, and Seth Rollins losing the Intercontinental title to Dolph Ziggler, which I don't think anybody saw coming. Getting up. Now, firstly, the match was great, and that isn't too much of a surprise because Dolph Ziggler is a really good pro wrestler, and so is Seth Rollins, and they went about 100 miles an hour from start to finish here. And there's one particularly good spot with super kicks. It was like it was raining super kicks. If you were out there in the outside world, you didn't have an umbrella, you'd be like, why didn't I bring my umbrella? Because once again, it's raining super kicks. And the finish was interesting because I do believe they played off what happened at the pay-per-view 24 hours prior to this. Dolph Ziggler got rolled up by Seth Rollins, and again, Seth Rollins held the tights, but then Ziggler reversed it, and he did his own holding of the tights. It was like a big tights party. But hey, he won. 1, 2, 3. It was a shock and maybe some kind of repercussions for Rollins, because, you know, he's a face, so this was supposed to be the world going, don't cheat, good guy. Good guys don't cheat, and if you try and cheat, you'll get out-cheated by the bad guy, because the bad guys are really good at cheating. Drew and Dolph then cut a pretty decent promo. They said this is just the start. They're going to go after the entire roster and try and win some titles along the way. And if this is a push for these two guys, I think I'm all right with it. Well, I am. That's why I just said it. So yeah, if we can look back on this and go, hey, there's the point it all got good, we can't get mad at that. Just don't hot potato the IC belt. Of all the belts, the IC title don't need that. Bobby Roode then beat Kurt Hawkins in around about 45 seconds, but as you know, I love Kurt Hawkins. I think he's awesome, so the fact he even got on the show gets it up. 204 losses apparently now for Kurt Hawkins, but you know what you do. You go on Twitter, you find Hawkins and you tweet him going, don't worry about it, we all love you, because we all love you and he's a good guy who deserves it. And we're going up crazy so far with everything that's happened on Raw, but yes, everything between Braun Strowman and Kevin Owens, getting up. Standard but fun stuff. Strowman came out, he put over his Money in the Bank win, said he's going to go on to win the Universal title, which means in turn, he did call out Brock Lesnar. Cool. Owens then came out selling everything that happened on Sunday, and he said to Strowman, look, you need protection, now you've got that briefcase because everyone's going to be coming after you. I'll do that as long as you give me the first title shot after you win the belt. Braun didn't buy into this, you may be shocked to hear, and he went to slam Kevin Owens again, but Kevin Owens not wanting to happen, he wiggled and he ran away. Off into the shadows. A feud between these two? Maybe, or at least so it seems, and that would be interesting, and I'm alright with it for now. A down, though, for the Bayley and Sasha Banks segment, because even after everything they've been through, they shook hands here, and they went, oh, let's go take on the Riot Squad. Somebody needs to stop them. And it gets worse than this, and we'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, massive down, massive. A massive up, though, for the B-team impersonating Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, which meant it was hilarious at the same time, and the best bit was when it ended, and the two didn't know what to do, so they slowly just lowered themselves out of the frame. Like this. I'm going to do it now. Like that. You just keep going down. Looks like you're in a lift. And eventually, you'll be out the frame. I adore these two. Fact. A down for the tag champions, beating Heath Slater and Rhino. Again, though, I mean, how many times have we seen that match? I think it's got to be 78,642 times. Why can't we do something different? And why does WWE have to keep taking the Raw Tag Team titles and hurling them on the floor and just stomping away? The bout only went about 3 minutes, and of course Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt won. Makes no sense. I am going to give it down for everything that happened between Bald Baron and Kurt Angle backstage. I mean, it was simple. I just didn't like it. In short, Corbin told Kurt Angle that Stephanie McMahon was actually pleased with how he dealt with Ronda Rousey. Angle got mad and told him, well, I didn't do it for her, I did it because it had to be done, but he didn't know that Stephanie McMahon was on the phone, and then she proceeded to tell him off via that means of communication. So once she does it by carrier pigeon, which will probably happen in a few weeks, Kurt Angle would have been told off in every manner possible. She also had some big announcement that she wanted Kurt to reveal later, so, you know, we'll get to it later. Then Jinder Mahal beat Chad Gable in about 2 minutes. I mean, what are we doing here? What is going on? Poor Chad Gable. Poor talented Chad Gable, that could be one of the best stars in the company, or at least a good upper mid-carder, gets jobbed out in about 120 seconds down. Mahal also cut some promo before this talking about peace and tranquility, so maybe that's some kind of character change in the works. And I swear he was doing that before he got fired first time round, but I don't know, whatever. Literally, whatever. And then, yeah, we got to another bust-up between Bayley and Banks. Am I meant to believe this one? Even though I've seen it 1,000 times before, it's Boy Who Cried Wolf. You're both crying wolf now, and I'm like, ain't no wolf attacking them, because they said that was last time, and I went over there, and I got invested, and then I got slapped round the face. Damn. But they did have that tag match with the Riot Squad, and at one point, Bayley was trying to deal with Sarah Morgan outside the ring. Banks wanted to tag in, she couldn't. Then she got screwed by Liv Morgan. 1, 2, 3, those two lost. Oh, they can't get it together. Then the two fell out. Again, they then argued again, they then had a brawl again, which Banks got the better of again. And will this tie into next week's show? Will there be any knock-on effect? I don't know, because sometimes there is, and sometimes there isn't. Before all this as well, the Riot Squad went and drew a big R on some kind of mirror as if they were hooligans. My sister used to do that in my parents' bedroom when we were kids, and you know how you get it off? You get some tissue and you rub it. Ridiculous. Up for the announcement by Stephanie McMahon that came via Kurt Angle, and that is the main event at Extreme Rules this year, is going to be a multi-man match, and the winner will indeed go on to face Brock Lesnar, I guess, at SummerSlam. And you remember him. He's the Universal Champion, but he's getting it up. All of this was interrupted by Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley because they both believe the same thing, that it's them that deserves the title shot. So let's not worry about this hoo-ha, just give it to one of them. I did enjoy Lashley telling Roman that he is sick and tired of seeing him take on Brock Lesnar because that's all we've seen over the last few years. You know what? He's right. And then for some reason, the Revival arrived to run both of these dudes down, and you can already guess what happened. I'm going to give you a few seconds to think before you get in the next one. I'm just going to stand here. I'm going to look. I'm going to count to 5. You've got 5 seconds to think. 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second, 5 second. We had a tag team match, and the Revival lost. It's getting it down. Why Dash and Wilder got fed to these two as their career on the main roster continues to go in a crazy direction, I don't know, but at least we had an interesting finish. We did have an interesting finish because Roman had the match won. Lashley tagged himself in, he hit a spear, and he took the win, and Roman was all like, oh no, oh no. We didn't do that. He just looked shocked. He didn't sound like a Muppet. That sounded like Gonzo. But, you know, we're building tension here, and we'll probably get that match at some point. We then cut backstage to see Finn Balor asking Kurt Angle if he could be in the multi-man match at the next pay-per-view because he wants his shot at the Universal title. And then Baron Corbin turned up, and then Braun Strowman turned up, and then Kevin Owens was there. And amazingly, at one point, Strowman was protecting Finn Balor, and he went, you know what? Me and this dude, we want a tag match against you two, and it got made. It's all right? Also got the official announcement that, yes, AJ Styles is going to be this year's cover star for WWE 2K. That's awesome. What a journey for AJ. And then Mojo Rawley beat No Way Jose in around about 3 minutes. I'm really pleased that we called No Way Jose up. He's really making an impact on Raw. Down. And then there's another down segment with Bayley and Banks because Banks was trying to leave. Bayley got on her face and said, I'm not done with you. Banks said, yeah, you are, because I'm done with you. And then as she drove off, Bayley banged on the windows. Somebody kill me. And up for Elias just performing one of his stupid but amazing songs in the middle of the ring with no interruptions. I enjoyed that. And an up for Seth Rollins saying while he is a bit worried about Drew McIntyre getting involved again, he is going to invoke his rematch clause for the IC belt next week. Cool. And then it was our tag team main event, and Corbin and Owens did indeed beat Strowman and Finn. It was right. Amazingly as well, Braun actually took the pin in this match. And if you believe that, if you believe those words coming out my mouth, you've officially gone nuts. Of course he didn't. He'd already taken out Kevin Owens on the outside by smashing him through the barricade, and then Finn Balor got hit with the End of Days, and Corbin pinned Finn. 1, 2, 3. Maybe that's the feud. It was an enjoyable match though, and fair play to Kevin Owens, who completely sold what had happened at Money in the Bank from start to finish. Even when he was attacking dudes, he was like, oh, I hurt everywhere. So Kevin Owens, you are my new MVP on Raw, which is a segment I've just made up. Maybe I'll do it every week, maybe I'll forget in 7 days. I'm an idiot. What a hero he is, and I actually thought that was a damn good episode of Raw. We played off Money in the Bank really well. We've already started building to Extreme Rules. Ronda Rousey kicked it off and kicked everybody's ass. I like this one. If you didn't, that's all right as well, because it's all about opinions, it's all about love, and it's all about walking through life with smiles on our faces. You know that. You love it. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's Raw. Like, share and subscribe, and then you know what to do. You head on over to WhatCulture.com and you read yourself some articles with your eyes, and then you go to What Culture on Twitter, at WhatCultureWWE, and you hit the follow button, and then you get a load of news and updates all the damn time. My name is Simon from What Culture. Thank you as always for joining me for this Ups and Downs episode that did indeed feature Monday Night Raw. I'll be back tomorrow to up those downs when it comes to SmackDown. Can you change the name, WWE? I can't do ups and downs for SmackDown. Call it like Smackways. That'll do. Ups and downs for Smackways. Don't call it Smackways. I don't know what that means. End the video. We're done. We're finished. I'm out.
What a difference a day makes. 24 little hours. What a difference a day made. And the difference is...
Support Wrestle Talk!
Follow us on Twitter.
Hello and welcome to the Wrestle Talk News. I am Luke Owen. With Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada breaking the internet and Michael Jackson breaking CM Punk's face over the weekend, you may have missed the small bit of news that Nia Jax's Money in the Bank opponent Ronda Rousey will be inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame next month. Rousey quit MMA with a record of 12 wins and 2 losses and has been credited for establishing the women's division in UFC. Dana White said in a prepared statement, "There would be no women in UFC without Ronda Rousey. Ronda is an absolute pioneer who helped me and a lot of other people look at women in combat sports differently." Oh, Dana, you silly fool! You're thinking of Stephanie McMahon. She started all the women's sports. Rousey called the induction an immense honor in an Instagram post, adding, "May I be the first of many." Let's just hope she's allowed to say her own words during her induction speech, as scripting her clearly is a mistake. Last week on Monday Night Raw, Ronda Rousey went out on commentary during a match between Nia Jax and her super duper uber BFF in the whole wide world, Natalya. But she's just as much as Nia's friend, and well, she didn't do a good job. Between her and abject silence, Ronda didn't add anything to the match and certainly didn't build any anticipation for her first WWE Women's Championship match this coming Sunday. Oh yeah, Money in the Bank is this Sunday in case you forgot. During the match, Corey Graves said that Jax called Rousey ripe for the picking, which Ronda replied with, "Ripe for the picking is something only my husband calls me." Not only was it an odd line, when they came back from the commercial break, the same question was asked and Ronda repeated the same answer. And on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer confirmed what many of us believed, that this was a scripted line that Ronda was told to say and not something she came up with on her own. The Ronda thing was evidently scripted, and that's probably why the announcers went back and asked the same question twice. Several people in WWE have remarked that it was very bad judgment putting Ronda in that position scripted. Clearly she wasn't with it. She was so standoffish, it was the wrong Ronda. You can tell she's not a good actress. When she's not happy, you can see right through it. And if WrestlingNews.co are to be believed, it wasn't just Ronda who was unhappy with her scripted dialogue. To add to what Meltzer said, I have heard there were people backstage groaning at the line. This is the first time we've heard anything negative backstage on Rousey, with the last report saying her attitude was great and everyone in the locker room respected her coming in. But if Ric Flair is to believe, she might not be there for much longer. When Ronda debuted at the Royal Rumble in January, it was reported that she had signed a multi-year deal and this was going to be her full-time career. Rousey herself told ESPN shortly after she signed, "This is my life now. First priority on my timeline for the next several years. This is not a smash and grab. This is not a publicity stunt." There have also been rumors that WWE wanted to use Ronda to get a better deal deal with either the USA Network or Fox when it came to the TV rights for Raw and SmackDown Live. And there have been rumors that she and Charlotte Flair will be the first two women to main event WrestleMania next year. However, when speaking about those WrestleMania rumors with Chris Van Vliet, Flair may have let slip that Ronda Rousey isn't staying with WWE for as long as we've been led to believe.
I think Ronda's only signed a 1-year deal. She's out of there.
Yeah.
She wants to have kids and all that.
If this is the case, then one would assume that Ronda's contract will end at Royal Rumble next year unless she signs an extension for WrestleMania. Or it could be that Ronda has signed just for 1 year with the idea that she and WWE will renegotiate for another when those 12 months are up. You may have noticed that Ric Flair wasn't the only person being interviewed by Van Vliet in that video, as he was also talking with Hulk Hogan. The Hulkster was fired by WWE in 2015 after a video of him using racial slurs was released online. But in the last few months, the rumors of Hogan returning to the company have become more frequent. When asked if he was going to return to WWE, Hogan said,
"Yeah, I'm ready. You know, things are moving in that direction quite quickly, so, you know, it's all about execution, timing, and right place and right time, but things are good."
All right. Oof, good job he got that right place and right timeline right, because the last time he tried it...
If you actually think I was just the right guy at the right place at the right time, let me say it one more time so you completely understand, McMahon. If you actually believe in your mind, if you actually think that I was just the right guy at the right place at the right time.
Get all the latest rumor and innuendo on this Sunday's pay-per-view with El4 breaking down the latest Money in the Bank news.
We're the Booker family from Glasgow. We've swapped from our regular supermarket to Aldi. With the money we've saved, we brought the kids out for a day at the safari park. Wow, Nathan.
It's amazing.
We've saved over £95 on these products in 4 weeks.
Which is a lot more than what we initially thought. What's swapping done for us? It means that we've got extra money at the end of the month.
Look at the monkey on the roof.
Yeah, does it remind you of anyone?
Swap to Aldi and see if you could save. Saving feels amazing.
There's this amazing feature. Bing can predict who's going to win the big football match. Got the schedule of upcoming games. Oh, that's cool. Bing is predicting who's going to win. Now they'll start coming to me for football predictions. Great.
Fuck. Plus I went out last night. This guy has just invited like 20 people. Either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's good to show off and prove that, Logan, whatever you can do, I can do better.
And it's you that I want and need. Feel your heartbeat. Feel somewhere you're looking good.
Nah! We out here, bro. We out here.
Alright, so I'm going boxing training now. So I think I might show you just a little bit.
Double, fam.
Steak, you know what I'm saying? You all about that good steak.
Yeah.
One more time. Take me to the right hand. Sweep around. Right hook. Right uppercut. Left uppercut. Straight right hand. Okay, man. He's got it.
Alright, so man's out here. Just finished a bit of boxing. Man's got that steak, you know what I'm saying? You all about that good steak. We out here. Man's even got a beat up Jake Paul. This is my training gloves. Actually, these are just training gloves. But I'm telling you right now, they're so light. This is 16 ounces, but it's so light. Jesus. Dude. Shout out to iBox customers. You guys are legends, dude. You guys are legends. You did one for JJ too. The Nightmare, you know, because JJ's the Nightmare. Yeah, I need a name too, you know. Dream Crusher. Dream Crusher. Yeah, I'm Dream Crusher. Twilight. JJ the Dream Crusher. Dude. Alright, so I asked people a question, a lie detector test. If I'm gonna be Jake Paul, I asked loads of people, so here is the results. Alright, lie detector machine. We got my dad on the lie detector. My man's wearing damn straight. Get merch in the description, guys. Get that damn straight hat. If you get that, I might retweet. This is at Cody Gamer. Alright, am I gonna beat Jake Paul? Am I gonna beat Jake Paul?
No.
I'm not gonna beat Jake Paul. Wow.